Ladies and gentlemen, it's Ebro, Laura, and Rosenberg. Just Ebro and Laura today. Rosenberg's on vacation. But we wanted to jump on and bring some light to, I'm sure many people have seen the story. But my brother Isaac Hayes the third, that's right, the son of Isaac Hayes himself, who has fought very hard to get back the rights and all of the music of his late great father, who we had the pleasure of working with here in New York City when he did mornings on WBLS in New York City. So while this story was hot and topical, I wanted to open up our platform to my brother. How you doing, Eyes? What's going on, baby?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Glad to be here. Glad to talk about this and have the conversation. It needs to be heard about ownership. This conversation about creator ownership needs to happen.
Well, you've been on it, well, introduce everyone. You have your actual attorney with us here today too. So introduce everyone to him.
Walker Jr. in the building. What's good?
Good morning. Good to be here.
Now, Isaac, why did you show up with your attorney today? What do you want to? Are we in trouble? Did we do something wrong, or could we potentially have a lawsuit? Or like, why? I feel nervous now.
No, so because we have an open case.
Yeah.
To make sure that I don't say anything that I'm not supposed to say.
Gotcha.
And because this is a really a legal matter about the like I said the improper use of my father's music by Trump, and so we don't want to make any mistakes. We want to be continue to follow the letter of the law when it comes to making sure that this gets resolved.
Now,
And also, Ebro, we also want to point out copyright law, right of publicity, these different legal terms and legal theologies. We want to make sure that it's clear to your listeners and your viewers.
We made a social post on the Hot 97 Instagram page, and the comments were really funny because people were like, yeah, right. Obviously we get a lot of backlash because we go and we're very honest about Trump, right? But they were saying, like, how is this possible when his music is being played at a public event where no profit has been made? They have absolutely no case. Now, what do you say to those people?
Oh, I totally laugh at those people because if you know copyright law in the Title 17, the mere fact that he's in a venue and a venue needs a license, you have 20,000 people in that venue, another 2 million watching on TV, and another 10 million seeing it when it goes to YouTube. These are all income generating moments for Donald Trump, Team Trump, the RNC, Turning Point, and a bunch of other defendants that we are naming. So,
well, and the reason they're money generating is because they charge people to get in, because they're raising donations, all of the above.
Oh, they're monetizing off their channels.
It really doesn't matter because at the end of the day, they're performing the music publicly, and the copyright law gives Isaac the right for public performance.
Got it. And to approve and to essentially approve the right to use the performance of the music in public. So they would have had to have reached out ahead of time to get approval.
Correct. Anytime you go to State Farm Arena or Madison Square Garden, those venues have a license to play that music during the Knicks game or during a free event. They have a license to play it in that venue from the copyright holder. So this would be no different.
And so Isaac, you've been fighting a long time. I've seen you talk about this publicly because your father has some of the most sampled musical works, I think, in music history. And there's a lot of it. And it took your family how many years to actually get control of your father's creative works?
That's still a process that's ongoing. To explain copyright law, any song written before 1978, done under a publishing agreement, was owned by the publisher for 56 years. So think about Hold On, I'm Coming. My dad wrote that song in 1966, so it didn't return to us until 2022.
Wow.
We still have yet to terminate the Isaac Hayes catalog. So things from Hot Buttered Soul all the way through the Isaac Hayes movement, Shaft, Black Moses. We have not terminated those records yet, but they are in the process of being terminated as well, along with all of the hip hop songs that have sampled Isaac Hayes over the years.
Now, is there a world where you would have approved this song to be used if properly
not
licensed?
In a world that Donald Trump exists, no, not at all.
Got it.
I've said this plenty of times. A few things. I'm a brother of 7 sisters. Donald Trump has said, terrible things about women, terrible things about Vice President Harris. He's been found liable of sexual abuse. And then on top of that, it's not political for me. It's just the association with that character, that entity. I don't necessarily want to inject my father's music into politics because I feel that all types of people around the world love Isaac Hayes. So I don't think his music should be used in a political fashion. And so I just don't want that. But Donald Trump is definitely not the person that I want. I don't want people to hear "Hold On, I'm Coming" and think of Donald Trump at all in any way, shape, or form.
Now,
And can I say something, bro?
absolutely.
What's ironic that nobody's really pointed out is Donald Trump has made his living expanding, building, and protecting the brand that his father gave him.
Right.
And now he's trying to diminish and dilute and disrespect the brand that Isaac's father gave him. I think that's what's really ironic here.
So is a part of the case the fact that Trump himself, the way he licenses his name or his likeness to many businesses around the world and buildings, is part of the case the fact that he is very aware of the process to get these things done because he himself monetizes his name and likeness and work, his creative works?
You're the first person to interview us who's connected those dots. Yes, that's the main crux of the case. This has nothing to do with politics, has nothing to do with Trump's character per se. This simply has to do with you protect your brand. I went to Chicago last week. I saw the letters Trump on a big skyscraper downtown Chicago, right there on East Wacker. So if Trump has his name all out there and his brand out there and getting paid millions for it, why would he think he can use the estate of Isaac Hayes' brand and name and music and everything and not pay us for it? It's the same exact thing he's done for decades.
So just to be clear,
sorry, Laura.
They have never reached out for permission. They just took it upon themselves to do whatever they wanted.
No.
We've sent emails.
Yeah.
We sent letters out on Monday. Yesterday, we sent out another batch of letters to Turning Point, RNC. Nobody has reached out yet, but I think Kamala may have them shook right now. I really think a lot of their focus is trying to deal with the campaign of Madam Vice President Kamala Harris. So I don't know if it's intentional to us or just they're losing the race right now.
And to be clear, like the first time that I heard the song being used was about 2022, maybe about 2 months after we actually got the copyright back. And Trump used the song at the NRA convention right after the Uvalde mass shooting. And I made a social media post about that. And then we sent a cease and desist. And so at that point, he should have no longer used the song. And we sent, I think since then, he's used the song 134 times and maybe more. Yeah.
Wow.
So then that goes from, hey, stop using it, to you're being blatantly disrespectful and thinking that you can basically disregard our business requests. So now we have to take this to other levels of engagement.
Exactly. And I point out, you all saw that we demanded for $3 million in the letter that was leaked by the press earlier this week. We demanded $3 million because if you run a multiple, let's hypothetically say you charge 30 grand to use your music. Well, if you've used it 134 times, you can run the math and see you get in the multi-millions in terms of licensing fees very quickly. Every single stadium is a different license fee. Every single use. You don't pay one fee and then use it in 50 states. We would negotiate a different license for every venue and every performance of the music.
Now, normally Donald Trump would either say, or his campaign would say, he has no knowledge of this personally, or like he didn't make this choice himself. It was done by his campaign or his team or whatever. Usually, also, I've seen these cases just in paying attention to them where they've been dragged out for long periods of time in hope that the person bringing the case runs out of money to actually, follow through. Are you guys prepared for all of those outcomes?
Yes, we are. We keep a very, very, I'll say, deep backup pocket for cases like this. This is not our first one. We've done about 30 of them. And we understand that the legal fees can run $1 million to $2 million to take them from step A, filing the complaint, to step Z, getting the settlement and getting the win. So we're very prepared to carry this to the full mat, including depositions, discovery, um, uh, subpoenas, anything we need to do to make sure we get justice for the estate of Isaac Hayes. I'm a big Isaac Hayes fan. The movie Shaft kind of changed my life. The songs of Shaft, all of that stuff is very, very personal to me. So we took this on when we
Because
saw
everybody love Black
Isaac.
Moses, man.
Everybody loves Black Moses, and we got baby Moses here now, Moses the second.
So on the owning your IP, owning your creative, being a creator that controls. Isaac, you've also been very vocal on social media and even started your own social media app, Fanbase, which you have the T-shirt on, about how these major corporations are using Black creatives specifically to start trends, and sometimes those trends, whether they be dances or fashion or language or whatever the new viral thing is, will then be taken by people who are non-Black, monetized into oblivion, and Black creatives tend to not even get the accolades, the notoriety, or the monetization. You've encouraged a lot of people to bring their creativity so that they can own it and monetize it better to your Fanbase app. So I wanted to give you time to talk about that.
Well, I think as I get older, I realize that my generational trauma is seeing my father lose ownership of his copyright. And so the entire time that I've been in entertainment and music, the first thing I think of is how can someone not steal this from me? And so even in constructing Fanbase, I wanted to build something where people could own their intellectual property, monetize it, and even actually own the company. That's one of the reasons why we let people invest in Fanbase and have equity. You can see on my shirt, this is where you can go invest in Fanbase. Because Black culture is the economic engine of social media. And when you do a deep dive
Black
into Black
culture is the economic engine of America.
100%. So
Yep.
like I always say, like, if you do a deep dive into the ownership or the inventions of Black people, a Black man invented the golf tee. So why is a Black person not Titleist, right?
Right.
Black man invented ice cream. Why are we not Briars? You understand what I'm saying? So my thought in building Fanbase was saying, hey, look, I'm going to build a social media platform with the intention of anybody on the planet can use it, but the fact that Black culture will not be exploited to the benefit of people that do not either own the platform or have the ability to monetize. So this is a very intentional thing that I'm doing. I tell everybody, Ebro, anybody that I can, that you should definitely invest in Fanbase for that very reason, because the next generation of social media platforms are going to be owned by the users. This is never been done before. We've raised $12 million already. We're raising an additional 15 million right now. This is really like my call to anybody that sees this to go to Start Engine. And it doesn't cost a lot of money to invest in Fanbase. I'll say that too. The minimum to invest in Fanbase is $399. It's not a lot of money. It is to some people, but the way that the law was structured before 2012 and 2015, you would have to put $5, $10, $15, $20,000 to get a part of a tech startup. And you can do that with equity crowdfunding, which allows the general public to have equity in the platform. So
I think the engine y'all use was Start Engine, right?
Yeah, Start Engine. Yeah, Start Engine is a equity crowdfunding platform. I'm the first Black man to ever raise $10 million in the Reg CF level. I've gone up to the Reg A level, which allows me to raise up to 75 million in a year. And we're raising 17 million right now. We're at about 2 million. But again, once the raise closes, we will not be able to accept any more investment. I tell people all the time, when I do programs like this, the raise tends to go viral. People rush in, take all the shares, and then they're like, I want to invest. I'm like, it's too late. And
you got to move quick.
We have about 700,000 users on the app, and that's continued to scale. So there's never been a Black startup like this since Black Planet. So Ebro, I'm telling you, it's been 24 years. It's been 24 years since Black Planet. And in between that and now, no one's ever been able to successfully build a social media platform that's owned by Black culture. But now, in the modern era, let people own it, by the users own it, and be successful. So this is a watershed moment. I say all the time, like, don't let this opportunity pass by. We can't. If we mess this up, I don't want to hear it, because this is this is right here. This is the most legal flip of all time. And the reason why I say that is the users give the platform value. So if you buy shares in Fanbase and then tell everybody to come to Fanbase,
right,
guess what? The value of Fanbase goes up.
Right.
So it's like, oh, okay. I don't care who you are. You could be a celebrity. You could be anybody. I would be leveraging the opportunity to own part of a tech startup because, TikTok is a $350 billion company with ByteDance. Instagram's probably a $200 or $300 billion company. Facebook's a $1.2 trillion company. And the fastest way to grow wealth in America right now is through tech. And tell me a tech company that somebody right now can go invest in right now. Like the average person can just go put their money in a tech startup that's not already public, that hasn't already gone IPO. But before,
Well, usually you don't know about it unless you're in those circles.
Yeah, you're not in the know. So the fact that I'm the person that's saying, look, Black culture makes social media pop. We bring Black culture to Fanbase, but before you do, own some of it, then come on in, and then let's run this bad boy up. That's the reason why we do it. So I tell everybody, go to startengine.com/fanbase to invest. I want as many investors. Laura, I need you to be an investor.
I actually just pulled up your I went to
Wait a minute, Laura
fanbase.app to download it. I'm gonna check it out.
Laura doesn't have 1 million shares? Why am
Nah.
I doing this
I
show?
do not
I
have
thought
1
you
million
were doing
shares.
Nah, but I tell you what. Well, nah, I'm gonna keep that to
Lord.
myself. I keep that to
Yeah.
myself.
Well,
Y'all
let me
gonna
say
see.
something.
I've been waiting for Isaac to let me know when some things could, when we could start going live. So as soon as we could.
Man, we had a new update yesterday. Anyway, it's crazy. Fanbase is a free app to everybody that understands. Fanbase is free to download, free to use, but we also have subscriptions. So you can monetize your content that way through subscription. I invented that in-app peer-to-peer purchase subscription. This is what I mean. When I did that in 2019, 2 years later, now Instagram has subscriptions. Now TikTok has subscriptions.
Yep.
Now Twitter has subscriptions. Snapchat. Nobody tried to provide a way to have people monetize on social media until I did it. So I'm leading the path forward, and I'm just a little guy, and they're shook. I understand they're scared because it's the tech. Here's why: it's the tech infrastructure and the actual culture in one place. Where has that ever happened?
That's right.
Usually the record label is owned by somebody else and they exploit Black people. Usually the NBA team is owned by somebody else, or the sports team is owned by somebody else and they exploit Black people. Usually it's the app is owned by somebody else.
Well,
Black
Isaac, just like with many things, they count on us not being able to come together and support each other. And so that money is actually spent and time is actually spent on how to fracture, disenfranchise, and destable our relationships, our communities, and our interpersonal. I mean, all of it. Our interpersonal relationships, our communities, our businesses. There's effort made to make sure that doesn't galvanize. And so I wanted to give you space to talk about that. And I just want to let you know I'm proud of you, man. You know, what you and your family have been able to do with your father's works. And even in this lawsuit, much success to you in holding people accountable for how they use your father's creativity. Because, one of the things also that's looked over Isaac Hayes, as much as the great music that he made and the impact he made on behalf of Black people in Black music, it wasn't as if Isaac Hayes at the time when he was dropping music was celebrated by the mainstream white crowd. That was Isaac Hayes was Black, made Black music for Black people and about Black experience.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And because of us and how we celebrated your father and his creativity, it became mainstream.
Absolutely. 100%. The Black
And
community.
it's Ebro.
Go ahead.
Ebro, I want to chime in when you said earlier about Black culture carrying America. If we look closely at the music industry from the early days of Scott Joplin, one of the greatest musicians early, right into the Billie Holiday days, right into rock and roll, right into Motown, right into hip hop, R&B, the whole nine, we've always been exploited and not.
Hell, when you go back to the minstrel shows, they were using us to entertain themselves.
That's why I'm so proud of Isaac Hayes, because it's the first time in my career that I've seen someone stand up this boldly and just say, F it, we're going to do this. And I'm just really proud of him for that. He's already won to me. You have a man sitting in front of you who, in addition to building Fanbase, a major technology company for the culture, he's taken on the former president of the United States head on with no apology. Like, who does that? And I don't think I even realized the magnitude, because I was traveling when we hooked up and said, hey, let's do this. And when I got back here to DC, folks are like, yo, man, y'all taking on Trump? So I really salute Isaac for just having the balls, excuse me, Lauren, just the balls and backbone to do this, you know?
Well, and I think too. Yes, I think the way it shakes out is yes, you're taking on the former president, but I think at the end of the day, this is like you said, this is about proper licensing, proper business, and holding people accountable who don't do so. And whether that's the president of the United States, we live in a country allegedly where no one's above the law. So
Wow.
Right.
Allegedly.
allegedly.
I want to point something out too for the legacy Black artists out here. A lot of these estates and the music is often sold and gobbled up by
Venture
other
capitalists.
Yeah. And so for me, I wanted to be intentional about to make sure that I have a little brother who's just starting at Morehouse, today, moved in yesterday, that I passed that to him. And I've been telling my little brother since he was a little baby, I was like, Kojo, what do? We never sell. Because that's publishing. A lot of people are not in the position to do this. Even the artists like Celine Dion, she's not in the position to tell Trump to not use her music because she doesn't own the copyright. She doesn't own the publishing.
Right.
Once that becomes a big story, she can't do anything about that. If the publisher wants to honor her wishes, then they can do so.
But they don't have to honor her wishes.
Yeah.
I think that's why she just put out a tweet saying that she just doesn't co-sign it, and that's all she can do, right?
So our next steps, which will be injunctive action. We can do more than just a tweet. With
Right.
Isaac's authorization and approval, we'll have an injunction going out, having a court order Mr. Trump and Team Trump not to use the music anymore and order them to pay for the past licenses. That's why what Isaac said is so critical, that you have to own your publishing. Black artists gave up their publishing, and some are still giving up their publishing. There's another
And
show we
doesn't
have to
some
do,
of this doesn't some of this obligation or accountability fall on the Republican Party in general as well?
Yeah, we've named them. We've named them the RNC.
Yeah.
Yes, we've named them because they host these events.
Right.
And they're probably renting out a lot of the facilities. So it's a whole combination of people. All I know is someone's going to write a check to Isaac Hayes.
Right. Right.
I'm basically going to tell them the 5 of you can get in a room, Team Trump, Trump Inc., RNC, Donald Trump, and Turning Point. They can all get in BTC. They can all get in a room together and figure out how they're going to split the pie up, but they're going to pay him. And this is typically how, when we sue major labels, this is typically how it gets paid.
There you
4
go.
or 5 defendants get together and everybody breaks up the check. And we don't care. Just pay the man what he's due, because you've been using his music illegally and kind of very arrogant about it in terms of respecting his father's legacy. And I could never put Trump. I would love to put Trump on one of, well, no, I wouldn't. Not now. But back in the day, I would have loved to have used the Trump name on one of my apartment buildings and get that license.
But you would have to cut a check.
I would have had to cut a check back in the day. Yeah, when he was good with us in the 80s and nobody knew who he really was, but his name was hot. Imagine what that check would look like if I put the Trump name on something.
Now in New York,
So
we knew who he was.
Yes.
We knew who he was. Listen, I appreciate y'all for joining the program today. Isaac, we'll be talking soon. James, it was a pleasure meeting you, sir. And if you guys want to follow this and see how this turns out, I'm sure Isaac's going to be talking about it. You want to shout your Instagram?
Yes.
I like to shout out my fan base. It's the same thing, at Isaac Hayes 3. So anybody
At
wanna-
Isaac Hayes 3 on Fanbase. Download the app. My bad.
Yeah, I just downloaded it right now. Thank you,
Yes,
guys.
indeed.
And you got your 1,000,000 shares too, Lauren. Ebro, I need you to buy 3 million shares of Fanbase.
Listen, I'm in there. I've been in there. Ask Isaac. I've been in there from early.
Ebro,
Bro,
I was really upset about that Apple list, but I ain't gonna,
Nah, I know you was. I was too, though. By the way, the 100 best. I was upset too.
of the 100 best songs, 12 or 13
No, it
of
was
them
albums. It was albums.
album of the 100 best albums. 13
They all
of
sample your dad.
them, 13 of them sampled Isaac Hayes.
Oh, God.
wow.
Isaac Hayes,
How he not on the list?
I mean, you talking about Massive Attack, the Beastie Boys, Beyonce, Jay-Z, Wu-Tang.
Yeah, all of them. All of them.
Mary J.
All of them.
Blige.
All of them, bro. All of them. You and me
Oh,
both,
bro, we have
man.
to come back one day and talk about our situation with JC, speaking of sampling, but that's another day.
Okay.
My handle is at James Walker Jr. ESQ. If there are any writers or publishers out there who see Trump using Mr. Hayes' music, the estate of Hayes' music, please reach out. James Walker Jr., ESQ, DM me, send me the link or whatever where you hear the music being played. We want to shut all of it down. And we know there's some corners of the earth where we may not be aware that he's using the music.
Unless, of course, they're paying for it.
Unless they're paying for it. Correct. Thank you for that.
Exactly.
Yes.
His face. Thank you.
Look at Isaac's face, though.
Thank you.
I was like, facts. Hey, y'all take care.